Hello everybody, welcome to my live streamed Instagram QA or just QA, question and answer. You can ask questions, I hope I will see them. I have 3 different platforms, YouTube, Facebook and Instagram, and I have 2 cameras. Now at this time I'm going it through with, last time I live streamed through the internet on the computer to Instagram and that didn't work well. So now Instagram is my cell phone, my iPhone there, and then the computer, YouTube and Facebook is with a better camera. So you have, if you switch between the 2, you will see 2 different images. It might get dark though in 1 hour, so well, we'll see. Now I have the problem that I cannot watch the messages. Last time I could also see them on, oh maybe I can still do that here. Let's see, Instagram, if I, probably not. Anyway, I start out answering a question of one of my patrons, André van Brakel, who had written to me this morning, asking me to talk about playing close to the bridge and adapting at different acoustics, different concert halls, maybe needing different position of the bow and how I do that. Or if I think there's a truth to it, which I think, and how my take is, how I save or solve that problem. So, well, I am practicing at home always for the most extreme case. So I try to play as close to the bridge, practicing as possible, because that's the hardest. So if I can do that, going away from the bridge, that's always easy. But to manage to play as close as possible, that's a challenge, so I do that at home. When I come to the different concert halls, I probably by now adapt automatically, because you're right, one has to adapt. Some halls need maybe more overtones, some a little less, but adapting means playing here or here, not this kind of, this we actually never need. So we're talking about a couple of centimeters going, oh well, I get this better bow. This is not mine. I have this practice bow which is a nice bow, but I like this one better. Let's see. Then Andre mentioned, no, that's not a good idea. Andre mentioned Concertgebouw, where he had played and where he thinks there you don't need to go so much close to the bridge because it sounds so great. And he says that one can hear everything. I'm not quite sure about that. I heard concerts in the Concertgebouw and I lost a couple of singers the other day. I've never heard a string player, so I couldn't judge that, but the singer I heard was wonderful, but he was covered. But he thought that he didn't have to push hard because it sounded so great. So there's the thing. Some halls you think you sound great because you cannot hear the others as close. So you think, oh God, today I sound so great, because you hear yourself like in a little ivory tower. But actually out there, it's not the case. And that's the reason I always play with earplugs, because that takes away from me being fooled by a hall. And I think thanks to these earplugs, I know how much I have to go in. And Concertgebouw I played last November, and I remember I had to go close to the bridge, not all the time, but it was not easy. This is not an easy hall. It's a beautiful hall. It's an amazing hall in the audience, but on stage it is really not the most perfect hall of all times. That's a bit annoying that you can see the computer here. Oh, 1 second. Okay, so now I answered this first question. Let's see, how do I get... Okay, now I have to go back here. Oh, Cello Jihun is asking, any tips on continuous vibrato? For example, Mendelssohn D minor piano trio opening. As always, I can refer to my beloved daily routines. The whatever, number 9 or so. I mean, first train the vibrato anyway, and then this wonderful violin exercise goes like this. I do the easy version first. With half steps all. So it's the thing is, it's not about vibrato. We're talking about swinging the hand. So that's already an exaggeration. Actually, we sometimes need that maybe, but for continuous purpose, I would rather try to have the hand, to swing it easily and without too much effort, but without stopping. And this exercise, you can go all the way up. The more difficult one is this. This is for continuous vibrato. Then you can this is an exercise. Then if you apply it to a piece, maybe you play it without rhythm and so you minimize the it's not, but so the shift is quite fast. And why is this camera is getting dark here? 1 second, I do this little trick. But unfortunately, I cannot do it with the iPhone. Yeah, that's why I tried to stream from the computer to Instagram, but that was such a disaster last time. So sorry. So I answered now the Mendelssohn question. Now here I go. Hi, Matthias Michael Beckmann, the man with the 5 strings. He has a question. Oh God. Variation 4 in the Rococo Variations, bar 10, un poco animato, bis E of 3. Oh God. But I don't know, what's the question? The fingering. That's the best fingering I came up with since I use the thumb more often. So here we have the 3, and then thumb, 1, 2, 3. And I haven't practiced that since November when I last played it, so this fingering is quite safe. The only scary shift might be the E to F sharp. But it's not as difficult as it feels. Oh, why am I seeing something I don't want to see here? No. But I wanted to see messages and I don't see the messages. That's too bad. Let's see live video. I'm just trying to see all of the messages on the computer, but no, it doesn't work. Anyway, so that was the... Oh, and for the down... We're doing this augmented chord. So yeah, pa pa pa. This we have to aim for. So that you end up in time on the E. So now you have another question. Variation 5. Which one is that? Zweite Kadenz. Fingersatz for Akkorde, kurz vor der Lände beginnen. G, A, puff. Oh. G, A, G sharp, A? Oh. Huh? This is? Oh God, I don't know. Kurz vor Lento. This? Just I stay in the same, if that's what you mean, in the same position. Oh, and then you have another one, cadenza. I have no idea what that is. Rococo variation 5, first cadenza Fingersatz. I don't know. You have to sing it. Is there difficult fingering? Maybe. Let's see. How does it go? How did I do that recently? But it's actually quite, I don't think I have especially good fingering. Maybe I should look for a good one. But, or you mean the, no, you don't mean that. Probably you meant the. Yeah, I don't think I have a very clever fingering. Hello Caroline, hi Glay. Thanks for liking my daily routines, but I'm definitely not stylish. You have more stylish cellists around. Hi Joseph, with the earplugs, can you hear yourself better over the rest of the orchestra, or does it count on? Yeah, the earplugs just enable me to hear how it sounds farther away, I think. It cuts, I call it the crap. It's not crap. It's the room, it takes away the room acoustics. So I hear myself a little bit less and the orchestra a little bit less. So I hear it all a little bit drier. And so if a room is, if a hall is helping me or not helping me, I can tell with these earplugs. So it reduces everything, and I can hear actually sometimes the winds much better, not sometimes, I hear them much better than if I would play without. Because if I played without, I hear mainly myself. Hello, JSPH. Can you tell us what do you think for looking at when you meet a new cello? Which elements do you focus on? Well, I met this cello and I just play a scale. And I'm looking for that it sounds healthy and that it's quite well balanced. What else am I looking for? I'm just moving the slide. This is not... Oh shit. 1 second. How do I do this? Well, it's a very difficult question because we are the worst to decide. No, this doesn't move. 1 second. When we play a cello, it's difficult to tell how it sounds because nearby it sounds completely different to how it sounds in any given hall. And I have a little story about that. Once I met this beautiful cello, the bass of Spain. I met it in Seattle. I mean, the owner let me play on it, and he also had another cello, the Beatrice Harrison Montagnana, I think. And I played both cellos, and I liked the Montagnana much better than the Stradivari. But a friend of mine was standing 10 meters away, and he said the Strat sounded so much better. So where I was sitting, where I was playing, I couldn't really give a judgment. So to answer your question, what am I looking for? I can't decide on just playing it in a showroom. I need to play it in concert. And in concert I can tell how it responds to the stress, how I can cut through a piano or an orchestra, or how it feels. And oh, this is too light, I know. Sorry. Next time I should figure that out. But the light, well, we have these naked light bulbs still because we still haven't really moved in here. And they're so ugly, so I'm not using the light. If I do that, then it would work probably. Yeah, good luck with finding a cello, because that's hard. Don't let yourself be betrayed by how it sounds nearby. Have a friend with you who judges from farther away, because he or she can give you more objective feedback. We are the worst to decide where we sit. Let's see, I go here. Is there anything? The silly thing is I get all the who joined and who didn't join messages. So to find a message on Instagram is not easy. Yes, I'm in Madrid. Seung-woo Kim. I'm in Madrid in my little practice studio here. It's an attico in Malasaña. It's really lovely, and somehow the neighbors haven't complained yet about practicing. Very lucky. No, there's no question. So then I go back to... Did I ever try some Baroque cello or Baroque bows? May I ask, what did you find on those? A Baroque cello, Baroque bow. Yes, I played, never in concert, but I tried Baroque cellos and I loved playing on it. It was a very interesting experience, and it taught me a lot how that music should be played. So I recommend to everybody to try a Baroque cello at some point, because the sonority is different, and the strings respond differently. And the bow, well, I played the Baroque bow, but that wasn't so much of a difference. People say, oh yeah, you I don't know, maybe I'm not sensitive enough. But it doesn't really matter if I play here or here or here. Well, maybe I need more strength there. Or if we go here. Now if I go all the way here. Actually, I do have a Baroque bow, but my other bow sounds so much better that I don't really need to play on it to try to make the music speak. We need to be as fresh and improvisatoric with Bach's music. The equipment itself is, I think, for my taste, secondary. Arno Kuhl writes in his book that at the end of the day, it's important that the music comes to speak, whatever the equipment is. Steel strings, gut strings, and I couldn't be bothered to travel with two cellos. A friend of mine, a wonderful violin maker, a cello maker, offered me to build a Baroque cello, and I haven't said no, but I haven't been very encouraging either, because this cello just has so much quality that I'm afraid that a Baroque cello, as nice as he builds it, would have less quality, and then I'm stuck with the cello and I would still play Bach on that. Not because I don't like gut strings, I love them, but this has beautiful quality as a voice and a soul. So why would I exchange that just for the sake of playing on gut strings and with a thicker neck? I played the sixth Bach suite on a Baroque cello. It was not much less in tune than with this cello. So that's not the problem. But yeah, I just love the sound of this old Gofrilla. Okay, now I have to find some questions here. Okay, Valentina, what about the bow? The bow, well, Baroque bow, same, yeah, absolutely, same thing. This sounds best. A Baroque bow, well, I'm really not a Baroque specialist. I know once I played a Bach suite and there was the Spanish guy, what's his name? The fantastic gambist. Oh God, I'm so bad with names. But he told me that he liked it very much. So, I don't know, maybe he was being polite. He seemed quite excited. So, and other Baroque people told me that actually that's quite good what I'm doing. Also from the Baroque standard. But maybe they're just being polite. What is important that we don't do, but we have the it's not this wishy-washy sound. It's this you learn on a Baroque cello actually. That doesn't work. If you, yeah, thank you, Jordi Savall. It was Jordi Savall 20 years ago in some, I don't know. It was some in Cannes, I think. I played the prelude of the sixth Bach suite, and he said that he had never heard it better. But it was sweet. He was very sweet, and I was so nervous, so I definitely vibrated too much, which should have pissed him off. But no, actually, the great Baroque musicians I've met, like Christophe Coin, for example, whose Bach second suite I still remember. It was so beautiful, and for my taste, it was almost too much vibrato, and that coming from me, who is a vibrato-obsessed person. So the Baroque specialists, they do vibrate by now. 30, 40 years ago they didn't, but now, yes, not this, but talking about oh, that was bad. So for me, that is a vibrato I can live with. Maybe you can't, and some more intelligent people than me find it blasphemic. But I have to play that I like it. And to play it non-vibrato like this, I don't know if they really played like that. That's very subjective. Let's see if I find something else here. Oh God, I have to find a better way to do that, I think. Because this is very slow. Okay, I go here. Can you classical T42 asks, can you discuss the different tensions of the bow tightness and examples of when you would adjust the bow during a piece? I never. I don't like when it's too, so this is, well, I played once, I lived in New York from 1994 to 2001. And a friend of mine called me, or not an acquaintance, he worked for a dealer in New York, and he called me and asked me to come in because he had this amazing bow, a Kittel. I'd never heard about Kittel, but I went to the shop and I played it and I wasn't really impressed. And then the phone rang, and it was a famous American cellist, I forgot. I think he died of cancer shortly after. I won't say the name now because otherwise I'm naming a living cellist and that would be embarrassing. Anyway, he called, he was the owner of the bow. He said, oh, please tell the interested cellist that he should really tighten it a lot. Heifetz, I think, played on a Kittel and they'd always tighten it a lot, and some other people as well. And I did, and immediately it sounded much better. it really made a huge difference. And this is not a kittel, this is a grand dame, but also that works better if, I mean, I don't know, it has, even playing Bach, I need enough resistance. Maybe it has to do with going closer to the bridge, I don't know. But I don't ever adjust in a piece. The only thing I adjust is, this is my default way of playing. So with the full hair, even if I play soft. If I need a special effect, then I might roll it a little and play with one hair. I don't know. But even something like that starts mezzo forte. Now you could, to change the color, you can go. So I'm being quite close to the bridge, but I use very, very little hair just to change the color to the very beginning. But I wouldn't go and change the pressure. I mean, obviously not. And for virtuosic stuff, either. I mean, I think my bow, at least, or all my bows, they work in one tension. I think we have to look for making differences in our, how much weight we put, how much speed, bow speed, and where we play in regards to the bridge. Who's the maker? That was Robert Brewer Young. Robert Brewer Young is a very good American maker who lives in London, or works in London. He's also a professor for philosophy, really smart guy. And I played once a cello of his in concert. It was just brand new, and it worked quite well. I did a Dvorak with it, and the composer didn't actually, the conductor didn't realize it was a different cello. So definitely good cello. Oh, hello. I used to be a cellist long time ago. Greetings from Guadalajara. Yes, greetings to Guadalajara. Did I miss any question here? Well, then I could talk now just a little about... oh, I missed something. Here, where, what, pink it. Hi, having some troubles with left hand playing on the A string. Can you show please how much your fingers are curved and thumb goes? How would you play extended fourth position? Well, for that problem, I would always recommend doing these daily routines I do. My favorite one being probably the feuillard. And then all the way up. I like it even better than scales. I also do some scales, but I spend on scales and arpeggios I spend about 7 minutes, and on the feuillard I spend 20 minutes every day. I have different variations there. So, and important is that you actually move just your entire, not the entire upper body, but coming from the shoulder you move forward. And the extended position. And the thumb should never press. So sorry. So I mean, it doesn't have to be like this, but the thumb should not lock in. And while I try to, oh no, I'm not trying. I'm pressing down the string with the weight of my arm. But if I have to go to the extended position, this comes slightly up. Or if I have to play a shift, then my arm is much higher than it would be otherwise. So if that would be crazy. So So I'm coming up here. And I'm mentioning it because in the extended position that's the same. So I need to come up with my elbow. And I do that quite consciously. Yeah. And do I curve my fingers a lot? I don't know. Well, it also depends. If I play fast, or if it's a cantilena, I'm probably more. Because I vibrate a little bit in the direction of a violinist. So what they do, they use the first joint here to vibrate. So it's this kind of. So there my whole hand position is more like this. And if I have to go fast, I turn that a little. And if I have to play. And then the thumb just comes with me, really locked in. I hope that makes sense. Did I miss another question here? No, I didn't. I don't think so. Okay. What are the principles? Oh, Glay is asking, what are the principal characteristics that good cellists must have? Principal characteristics. Well, I never care much about cellists. I care more about music. So a cellist for me is somebody who plays the cello well. A musician is somebody who it's like doesn't have to be a higher level. It's a different level. For me, it's more interesting. So I don't mind some cellistic problems as long as the music is interesting. But you're asking for cello. Okay, I answer both. So a good cellist should have good intonation, good sound, and what else? What else does he need? Well, talking subjectively, I don't like the random vibrato. So for me, they can be the best cellist in the world, with the biggest career in the world. I don't care if it's kind of. I'm exaggerating, but if it's on and off, a lot of non-vibrato notes, then a lot of over-vibrated notes. For me, vibrato is quite important, that it doesn't happen randomly. There should be a bit more of a meaning and a thought behind. So that's for me quite important. Then for sound, if you want to be heard, you need to go away from the fingerboard. That's very important. So I don't think a successful cellist can play on the fingerboard. If you play with orchestra, you won't be heard. And even in chamber music, you need you need that sound, because the piano is getting so if you're too you will be drowned by the pianist. So you need, and it's not about projection, it's about the quality of the sound. For me, this is not quality, this is quality. That there's a core in the sound. And what is a good musician is somebody who has his own thoughts in an interpretation. An interpretation doesn't have to be different to anybody else, but it shouldn't, you shouldn't repeat the same diversions of what the composer wrote as everybody else. That for me is not a good musician. A good musician is somebody who uses the text of a piece and makes it his own or her own, and have his own, her own perspective on it, and that would move me more than the 100th version of the famous Elgar concerto. Okay, I continue. Oh yeah, and other way, be spontaneous. a good musician should not have everything planned ahead. He should be able to do things in the moment. Surprise himself, surprise his colleagues, surprise the poor conductor, or not. It doesn't have to be always different, but it should be fresh. I mean, there's this lovely clip, I don't know if anybody of you has seen it, about the to be or not to be. I think 6, 7 famous actors come and like, to be or not to be, or then to be or not to be, or to be or not to be. And they really do it so convincingly that it works with all the different stretches. And at the end comes back then Prince Charles and he says, he gives the last version quite well as well. And that's the same with music. We can express a phrase subtly in different ways. It doesn't always have to be... So that's one of the things which I hear a lot. So that's already completely wrong rhythm. The rhythm goes like this. There is no reason to slow down these 8 notes. I mean, they don't have to be metronomically exact, but they cannot be just in half speed. Emma, is the cello far too loud? I think I just saw some thing here that looked awfully brutal. Sorry. Why did I say that now? Oh yeah, principles of good cellist and good musician. Okay, I did this, and this is... Have some tour plan in Seoul. Every concert you've gave us with Seoul Philharmonic were remarkable. Thank you very much. And yes, I think I'm coming back to Seoul next year. But I don't know when. And I think it's for chamber music, not with the orchestra. But invited by the orchestra, very strange, I don't know. And in August I'm touring with the Asian Youth Orchestra, but I don't think we come to Seoul, unfortunately. Then Classical T42 is asking, what technical issues were the most difficult for you to overcome? Most difficult. I mean, one of the most tiring pieces is the Elfendance, the Dance of the Elves by Popper. That's just tiring. And to overcome that, I always need to, I mean, I haven't played that in a couple of years, but I need to practice it a lot. Not to be able to play it, but just to be able to get through it. All these... How does it go? I mean, this is awful, but I haven't played it in 5 years. I would need 1 hour to be able to play all the difficult things well, but I would need probably 4 days, 5 days minimum until I'll be able to play it on stage. It's 90 seconds long, but it's so tiring, especially if you want to play it really fast. And I think it should be quite fast. So that's the most tiring piece. Then the other technical difficulties, well, the Unzuk Chin has some brutally difficult things. Those were harmonics. I don't know if... I haven't played it since last year, I don't remember. But there's a whole melody going up here. So that was by far the most difficult thing. Because those things then... Yeah. And then it continues and they don't speak and then you lose the rhythm. It's difficult for memory, it's difficult to make them all speak. It's difficult for rhythm. And it's beautiful, it's really gorgeous. I mean, I completely screwed this up right now. It's much nicer than that. I mean, check it out. It's on Digital Concert Hall and there's a video on Deutsche Grammophon, I think. It's really, that's the slow movement, the third movement. That was the hardest. Harmonics up there in a melody and jumping back and forth and then they don't speak. I mean, this, you could just see how sad I sounded there. Elfentanz. It's surprising you didn't choose Prokofiev or Shostakovich. Shostakovich, you mean the concertos? No, Shostakovich concerto is not that tiring. I just played the Weinberg and Shostakovich in a row, and I could have done Dvorak in the second half. And I don't really get that tired, except the Elfentanz, because there you're doing the same thing for 90 seconds. No. And Prokofiev is also not that tiring, because there's breaks in between. We have breaks, and I mean, I'm playing since 35 years, so I know how to pace myself. I know how to not kill myself in the first go. Any difficulty in the Barber concerto? Well, these thirds, to make them sound good and in tune, not so easy. So not to have it too short. This. And actually, by memory, I find that hard, because the second time around is different, and yeah. I haven't played it in a couple of years, so it's not quite right what I'm doing. But yeah, you need. Actually, that's not that difficult. You just. It goes so fast, you just have to slide anyway. Sorry. But before I almost hit the C sharp into. The funny thing is, if I would practice that, I probably start out really well, and then it gets worse first. And then I really have to practice it, so that it that it actually stands up to closer scrutiny. Yeah, that's a beautiful piece. I absolutely adore the Barber Cello Concerto. One of the most undervalued pieces, actually. And I remember when I played it, when I played the Barber in Portland for the first time. That was my first time in America. I think half of the cellists have never heard the piece. I mean, it is the most important cello concerto, American cello concerto, and they didn't know it, so that shows it's really underplayed and undervalued. The Lutosławski is probably the easiest of the 20th century concertos. And I'm very sorry, I know everybody loves the Lutosławski. I played it once, I heard it with Rostropovich, I heard it with my teacher twice in the 80s and 90s. I was never convinced. And when I played it, it's quite, you can memorize it quite easily. It comes, yeah. What is difficult I remember, I mean, it's 2 years ago I played the Lutosławski. What I found difficult were those tiny little subtleties he demands. Like at the very beginning with the speed, it goes slower and faster, and the dynamic, he's quite precise. So to get that correct, that was a challenge. Otherwise, technically, there's nothing difficult, technically, I think, in the Walton. No, sorry, I read Walton. I love the Walton. And there the fast movement is also not easy for memory, I must say. But also because I had never played it that often. I think I played it 5 times in my life, and always with 2-3 years in between. But that's a gorgeous piece. I love the Walton. Franklin Watkins is asking, any tips for making artificial harmonics speak well? Well, I have a good story about that, a rather embarrassing one. I played the Saint-Saëns in Sydney, and there's this lovely principal cellist, really wonderful person and lovely lady. I'm so bad with names. Kogel. No. Anyway, I see her in August when I go back to Sydney. I played the piece, dress rehearsal, and was fine, but the harmonics weren't that good. So she asked me, so, are you happy? I said, no, the shitty harmonics. And she said, oh, can I say something? I said, yes, please tell me. Well, closer to the bridge. And I was like, oh no! Because whenever I practice it, I was fine. How does it go? How we go? Then so what happened to me is I practiced it at home, never a problem. But then it was already kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. I knew I had problems on stage. So whenever it came, I got nervous and I was like, oh, now it comes, Hilfe! And I focused on my left hand and closer to the bridge. So what we do when we get nervous, we tend to pull out. We have to do the opposite. You might be as nervous as 10 debutants somewhere. Stay close to the bridge. Then there should not be a problem. Well, I played the... I recorded and played it the last few times with saxophone quintet. But now last week I played it with piano again in the other version. So I listened to my very first recording, which I did in 1990, and I played it here. And I didn't dare to do that. That's really hard. Wasn't so hard. Oh, I played that on the Guarneri, which I just returned. So maybe that worked harder on the Guarneri. Here on this cello it's not so bad. So my trick is, yeah, obviously you have to have a good left hand, strong push down here, and yeah, you know how to do harmonics, but then just stay in the string. Even if you play super soft. That's my only advice, sorry. Heard that Dutilleux is also very challenging. Dutilleux is definitely much harder than Lutosławski. But nothing really especially difficult. I don't think that... Oh yeah, the pizzicato plays in the last movement. That was crazy to memorize. Something like that. Yeah, and that's quite tiring on the fingers. But otherwise, it's a great piece. I love that piece. I think it's just so superior to Lutosławski. I'm very sorry. And I love Lutosławski as a composer. I just don't think the cello concerto is his best piece. But that's my very unimportant personal opinion. And if somebody wants me to play it again, I'll play it. I mean, I learned it, so I might as well play it again. But if I have the choice, 10 times Dutilleux. So did I lose a question here? Let's see. No, I don't think so. Well, I wrote down that I would talk a little bit about the little discussion I started about my... Oh, there comes the last question. Well, I'm first talk about the high note I did in the Weinberg. I played the Weinberg concerto, and in the first movement, so we go... So that's the first movement. In the last movement, we go... 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then he goes back down as last note. So I opted to take an octave higher, especially since he did something similar with the same note in the first movement. So some people really disagreed with me. They said, "Oh, but it starts with the fifth, with the fourth. So then it ends with." So that might be, that's a very clever idea. But by the time I played that, everybody forgot the beginning, and somehow I loved the idea of not going back down, but leaving it like an unanswered question. Anyway, I might be wrong, I might be right. Who cares? It's one single note. I play the same note, just an octave higher. So not such a big deal. But there were quite a lot of, and even more heated discussions, almost accusing me of arrogance that I dare to change a single note. Oh, one little side thought. The fact that he didn't put the last note high up might be that he didn't want it, or that Shostakovich told him no, because to end up that high after a tiring piece could be dangerous, and it's definitely easier to play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, than playing 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, it's not much harder. Well, not for me right now in this room, but winds are playing, so they have a certain level of dynamics. So it's harder to still have some kind of projection on that high note. And if you're nervous or tired, it might start jumping. So it could be that Shostakovich opted out of the high note, because Weinberg did it in the first movement. And there it's not that slow, and it continues. So the note doesn't have to be held as long. But I chose to just, I split the bow once. Actually, I even saw a cellist online splitting 2 times. So I did it in one rehearsal on one bow, but it was kind of, and if I change my bow exactly with the last change of the winds, nobody can hear the change of the bow anyway. So, yes, the discussion was now that 40% answered a poll saying that we don't have the right to change. And I was quite surprised, because I thought it's not so important, this one single note. And then I came to think of that 95 or even 99% of cellists play the Schumann concerto like this. Or maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe like with a lot of passion and juice and quite slow. And Schumann writes piano and twice the tempo. And he writes like this. I'm completely fine with people playing it in half speed, but that changes the entire character of this first movement. So if you're fine with changing the character of the entire piece, then please be fine with me playing an octave higher. Because that is one single note. The other thing is changing really, or doing. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but that's substantially slower than what Elgar wrote. And you might love it, that's good. Play it like this, you're used to it. But Elgar wrote. about 66, I guess. It's a different character. If you like the slow one better, do it, but be aware you are correcting the composer. You are interfering with what the composer wrote, which is not bad. I mean, Jacqueline du Pré did it, anybody can do it. But just be aware and maybe do something different than Jacqueline du Pré or the other wonderful cellist who plays it like that, or your favorite cellist or whatever. I think that's us as artists, we do our thing with the piece. And my advice to all the students and people who have followed me for a little longer, they know, just don't listen to recordings. Find your own way. Classical T42R says, I love your recording of the Alt Cons Sonata. Were there any challenges with it? Ooh, again, I recorded it by memory, so it was quite hard to memorize. I remember there was this tricky thing in the slow movement, but I haven't played it in 15 years, so I don't remember. Well, Alcan, Rachmaninoff, Chopin sonatas, those are pieces with gigantic piano parts. So the challenge is to actually cut through. I mean, to not be lost in the texture. So we have to work hard, and we're working a lot on the lower strings. So to make that sound-wise be a fulfilling experience, that was the biggest challenge for sure, if I have to reflect on those three pieces. So for me, they fall into the same category. A lot of cello playing on the D string, G string, sometimes A, that's fine, but then here we have to really work well to stand our ground towards the piano. Mansoor would like to know, oh no, yeah. There's DMSH85, hello. I'm well, thanks. What was the most expensive intervention you did on your cello? I'm asking because now you need to pay 8,000 for restoration, bass bar, cracks, etc. The most expensive one was for this baby. I think I paid 20,000. But it was it's a beautiful cello, got Friller, and I got it for a very good deal 20 years ago, but it needed a lot of work, so that was the most expensive. She had to change everything. But it was my trusted luthier whom I trust with my life. She's in Berlin. She's in her 80s and she's amazing. She's a miracle, this lady. Ingeborg Behnke. And she's one of the best restorers in the world, I guess. And she didn't do anything beauty related. So I would advise anybody, no beauty related things. Just what is necessary to make the cello sound good and stay healthy. Everything else doesn't increase the value anyway, nor the sound. She even said she could make it look nicer. Then I would need another year, maybe 100,000, and no guarantee that it will sound as good as it sounds now. Mansoor asks for good fingering for the double stops at the beginning of Shostakovich 1. Yeah, well, the only one I know is 2-3, 2 thumb, 1-2, 1-3, 2-3, and then I jump. Oh, this jump is dangerous. And then, so that's 1-2, 1-3, 2-3, 2-3, 2-1. Yeah, it's the same thing again. And here the same, like 2-3, 2 thumb, 1-3, 2-3. Quite safe actually. Just don't play with a good length to it so that you can actually hear. And if you practice it slowly and with a God, it's getting really dark here, sorry. Well, I could turn on the ugly light. Let's see how ugly that looks. Oh, it's not so bad, is it? Now this is too light here. So I have this nice camera with where I can change the ISO. The cell phone is like this. Okay, so I did the fingering. Glay says, if you don't mind, play something for us. I did. Suggest something I can play. I play whatever you want. Brett Bacchus, hi. I commented on that on Facebook in favor of your opinion. Oh, thanks. Well, I read most comments, but I don't exactly remember what you said. But thanks for supporting me. And I don't mind if somebody challenges me. I really don't mind. I don't take anything personal. I mean, if somebody thinks I stink, then I stink. This I found out, you cannot please everybody. I don't like certain way of playing, so why would the people who's playing I don't like me? So I don't mind if somebody disagrees, but I just want to point out the irony that changing the character of a piece is actually more of a disrespect to the composer than changing a single note. Oh, by the way, I started today a new piece a composer wrote for me. I have to play, it's a solo piece, I think 10 minutes. Lovely. All pizzicato, the first movement, and slow movement, and last movement is a jive. So it's easy listening, but well written, and it's cool. I think each movement could be used as an encore after an orchestra concert. But there are some things, oh no, there's one thing I can remember now. He wants some ghost notes in the pizzicato, and he wants the ghost note then with a slide. So he wants no, like, so if I remember right, I practiced it today 20 minutes, but this I remember, and then ghost note. But the ghost note means, like, a ghost note is like, so you that those are normal notes, and the ghost note shouldn't be harmonic either. It should just not sound. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's a ghost note. So you like da da da. But now explain anybody to me how a pizzicato should work if with a gliss if I don't pitch. So that's so with a as ghost pitch would be. But then there's no gliss. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm not going to ask him. I just ignore the ghost notes and I will play the gliss. And if he comes to the dress rehearsal or whatever and he wants more ghost, then I give him ghost. But I'm not gonna discuss with him. I will tell him, well, the gliss doesn't work, and then I played without the gliss. So now I opt to rather play the gliss than the ghost. Or maybe I will do a mix, like I play the gliss, but not like, but more like, yeah. So it's a different texture, not, so that would be a compromise. But again, that's my take, or that's what I want to say. Whenever I play a piece by a composer, never mind dead or alive, I treat it as if he's dead. I don't need to ask any questions. I have to figure it out myself. I don't need to listen to any recording. I need to find the truth or the reason or the sense of the piece in the score. And that makes it interesting, I think. If I check what Shostakovich did with the Weinberg, I might be so impressed that I then do what he did. But when I learned the Weinberg, I didn't listen to anything, so I just came up with my own thing, which might be wrong. The tension between the note is gone when you divided the bow. I don't remember what that was. But well, again, oh yeah, you mean the long last note. The tension was gone when I divided it. This is here. In a hall, if I play with winds playing, it will just sound like a little me 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 me. And if I same, I mean not same, but quite different to at the beginning of the Prokofiev. I would recommend to change the bow because if it's easy to save it. But it will sound like, and that's not the character we need for that beginning. And I'm all for doing the original bow. I even play something like, last time I played it, I did it on one bow, and that was 2 years ago, so I haven't practiced. Sorry, that was not the perfect string change. Just as a proof that I love original bowings, but in the Prokofiev I would change, or I do change, because it just doesn't sound in the whole free enough. It shouldn't sound like like an effort. It should be ta-da-tim, and not so labored. Any advice to give on direction and lightness to Haydn's first movement in D? Well, play it in 4. That's definitely a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then. And then slow, even second theme. 1, 2, 3, 4. For me, that's the only way bearable. Everything else is an 8. I mean, this is not even a fast tempo. This is almost andante. So we are, or maybe an andante moderato. Allegro would be. That's too fast, obviously. But you need. I mean, each conductor I worked it with in my early times, he said, "Oh, don't rush, don't rush." The first conductor. Once I played it with Tom Koopman, the Baroque specialist. He said, no, go, go, go. It's virtuosic music. I mean, those are scales. If they're... Bum, bum, bum. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but... And I hear people go... That's the 4th beat! That cannot have an accent. You cannot do little 4, 1, no, 3, 4, 3, 4. You have to think it's a 4, 4. So there's no excuse to. At the same time, if I teach that piece, and I have a student preparing for, I mean, I don't have students, but online somebody plays for me. If it's an audition, I warn, because people expect this 8 in 8, more or less. So if you want to go in 4, be aware that could backfire. But musically, if you ask me musically, I think that's how it should be. But again, personal opinion, no offense if somebody loves it exactly the other way around. But it is, I mean, it is not Haydn's greatest piece of all times. It's a lovely piece. But he wrote the Creation, which is a masterpiece. He wrote the quartets, the symphonies, which are all much bigger pieces. And the slow movements of both our concertos, I think, are beautiful. But the outer movements, yeah, it's virtuosic music. And especially the Haydn D major was probably co-written by his Kraft guy, a cellist who wanted to show off his chops. Okay, some more questions, then I have to get going. How do you warm up to start your practicing? Do you have your own routines? Well, you must be new here. I have daily routines. Just Google Alban Gerhardt daily routines, then you will see my entire daily routines. It's the whole philosophy. I don't do warm up. I do those daily routines. They take 1 hour, 5 minutes. They attack certain important matter. All starts with open strings and then some left and vibrato, mapping out the fingerboard, and if I do that, I can play practically every concerto I have done more than 20 times the same night. Because then I know where everything is. If I don't do that, I need to practice more, and I don't like to practice so much. So I do those daily routines with while reading the paper, and then I'm in good enough shape that for the concerto I need another 45 minutes, and then I know it. If it's a piece I played often. With the Weinberg it was different. I had to really practice because I had to get it back in my brain. It's not an easy piece. There Weinberg writes tempo 100 for the third movement, which is like that's 94 maybe. I couldn't get it up to 100. And you could say, oh, the metronome was wrong, but it's so much fun and it's so much more exciting. I saw somebody go it becomes like a wood shoe dance. And if the composer writes 100, that doesn't mean you have to play 100, but it doesn't mean you should play 60. I think at least try to get close. Unsuk Chin, when she wrote this lovely cello concerto for me, she put very high metronome markings, which I cannot do. When they did the edition, she asked me if she should change the metronome markings, and I said, no, please leave them. They should know what you had in mind, and they should all try to get there. They won't, because it's, or maybe some genius can do it. But at least we know what the composer had in mind, and then we should try to get close. Don't give up too easily. Or the, what is it? No. I forgot how it goes. The Shostakovich trio. It's super fast, and actually there's a quote by Shostakovich. He says, yeah, no, go for it. It should be the tempo. At least try. It's super hard, but practice. That's what practicing is for. And practice. So that's my daily routines. Check them out. Have you played any of Totlier's? Well, I had to. I remember the beginning. There was the piece we all had to practice and play in his masterclass. I did a masterclass in 88, 89 for Tourtellier, and we had to play his Cirque. So that's the only piece I played. It was lovely. It starts like that, I think. Then. Oh no, I won't get farther. Sorry. Do I often practice with metronome? Not very much, just sometimes it's a reminder. Oh, and if I need to get something up to speed, yes. If I play Haydn C major, I practice the last movement 20 minutes with metronome. Always the whole thing through, starting with whatever, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, all to build up stamina. If you manage to play it through 8 times, going faster and faster and faster, that's the way how to practice speed, actually, with a metronome. So I use the metronome for that, and sometimes just to remind myself where the pulse is and where I divert. I want to divert consciously, not just because I have a technical problem or I have a bad pulse. The pulse changes going with a piece. We don't have to have the same pulse throughout, but we should be aware of the pulse. It shouldn't just be random, and we shouldn't take... We can take time in the moment, but we shouldn't take time because we need time, because we have to change. God, what's a good this? Well, the da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 and yeah the time here. Obviously, one can take time. It's fine, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. And why? Because we need to go from the tip 1, 2, 3. So it's a technical problem to go to get back to the frog somehow. So part of the solution is not using all the bow here, but maybe but actually the phrase is not over. Ta ta ya ya ta ta ti ta da da. You could even go for 16 bars and not just 8 bars. you can stop there, but if you stop, because people have problems getting back to the frog, if the last times I played, that's by the way Dvorak's original phrasing on one bow, which is actually, it feels so naked on stage, but I heard it the other day recording and I thought it was not unconvincing. It's just very fragile. Anyway, I think that's the last question. Let's see if there's something else. Oh, sorry. I don't want to block anybody. No, sorry. I see if I find something. What about Walton? Yes, Walton is wonderful. I said that already. La 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 la. 7 years ago I watched your Bach performance in Guangzhou and it's unforgettable to this day. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I played them once. And I played in Shanghai and Guangzhou all the Bach suites and I was so impressed that about the discipline of the Chinese audience, because I played in China already in the 90s and that was a different story. And now the level of attention has risen so much that there was no... Well, the first notes in Shanghai when I started playing, I saw a lot of cell phones, but I think they just took them out for the very beginning and then they put them away and that was fine. I don't care. I mean, but it's nicer if everybody listens than talks on the phone, I guess. And the audience was wonderful. So, yeah, I love playing them. Great music. Very tiring. That's actually the biggest challenge, to play all the Bach suites in one concert with one break. Ooh, tiring. For the head mainly. Do I have another? Such a blast. Thank you very much. I think that's it. Oh no. To be in your live video. Send a request to be in your... How can I do that? I can review, go live with... Okay, now I'm going live with somebody. But the somebody left. I forgot the name. Sorry. K. Stokes? No. That's interesting. So that works with going live? God, that's the problem with this Instagram thing. I get all the messages who joins. And that's not really helpful because... some comments for the beginning of the Weinberg. The introduction defines the whole piece. Well, there is a metronome marking in the score, not in the cello part. But I think if I would have seen the metronome marking in the score when I learned the piece, I would have ignored it after trying to make it work. For me, that's too slow. And I have doubts that it is really the metronome marking of Weinberg. It could be that Rostropovich, because that's about the speed Rostropovich plays. It's 40. And for me that is, or I know, I forgot what he, yeah. So I tried, when I saw the score and when I saw, no, I didn't see the score, I saw the piano part and the cello part. For me that was clearly an adagio in 3, not in 6. So my advice was like... Oh no, I start on the A string. And then go on the D string because it's pianissimo. Yeah, but for me, and again, maybe I'm wrong, but I told you, even if I would have known that there's a metronome marking 40, I would have practiced it with 40, and I would have realized I don't like it with 40. I cannot make sense of it for me. And even if it was Weinberg's last wish on his deathbed, it's me who has to sit there and play it. And if I play something I'm not fully convinced of, then I might not play it. I should not play it. So I'm fully convinced in doing it in 3. And having some rubato, and then the rubato makes sense. If otherwise we played in 6, in 8, no. In 6, yeah. And then we wait, and it's a never-ending story. Same thing with the second movement. No. I think in the score is 72, which is something like... And yes, I'm changing the character of the piece. If 72 is what he had in mind, I'm changing the character. But I'm aware of it, and I'm the only one who's doing it. So it's my crime. I'm not committing somebody else's crime or recommitting somebody else's crime. But I thought it became a better piece through that. That's very arrogant to say, but I think, yeah, it's this, we should try to understand what the composer wanted, but at the end we have to show what we have to feel it, and if we don't feel it, then we can give another option. And I would have discussed it with him if he was alive, and he would have challenged me and said, please let me play it like that. And maybe he would have said yes. Oh, and if anybody wants to hear that piece, I posted it on Patreon. So the whole dress rehearsal. No entiendo nada de lo que dices, pero es muy lindo escuchar los momentos que tocas el cello. So somebody doesn't understand my English but likes when I play. Thanks. Gracias. Cine comunitario y música. Yeah, my Spanish is not good enough. And I guess more people would, even less people would understand me. Even the Spanish wouldn't understand me if I speak Spanish. So that was the last question. Thank you everybody for joining and for your lovely questions. I hope I didn't talk too much. Oh, why is there this comment posted? Sorry, how did I do that? Oops, I should have gotten rid of that. And that was that an important one? It's there the entire time. Good afternoon, Alban. Sending love from the States. Any tips on improving octave? Or is that from today? Improving octaves, same double stops. So we go. That's how I practice octaves. And then and important, close to the bridge, not too much bow, lot of legato, good sound. If you go like that, that's not really helpful. And slow. And this one by one is that you can really hear each octave well. And then note by note. Yeah, that's the quick answer to how to practice octaves. There are probably better ways, but that's the only way I know. Thanks for listening. All best. See you again. Bye.